Good morning. You guys hear me in YouTube land? You can put it in the chat if you can hear me. That'd be great. Actually, I can hear myself, so you should be able to hear me. Can you hear me, Space Cowboy? Cool. Alrighty, let's do the disclaimer and then I'll be back in a second. 90 seconds, actually.
Risk disclosure statement. There is a risk of loss in trading stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, derivatives, options, forex, and cryptocurrencies. This risk can be substantial and therefore investors should carefully consider their financial suitability prior to trading. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. The software, strategies, chat rooms, websites, and any associated websites or digital venues are for educational purposes only and should not be construed as an express or implied promise or guarantee that you will profit or that loss is made limited in any manner whatsoever. Users of the information accept full responsibility for the outcomes of their deployment and holds Staples Trader, LLC, and any associated companies, agents, management, owners, and customers harmless without preservation. Please trade responsibly. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, Rule 4.41, hypothetical and simulated trading performance results have certain inherent limitations. Some are described herein. No representation is being made that any account is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those shown. In fact, there are frequently sharp differences between hypothetical or simulated performance results and the actual results subsequently achieved by any particular trading program. One of the limitations of hypothetical performance results is that they are generally prepared with the benefit of hindsight. In addition, hypothetical trading does not involve financial risk, and no hypothetical trading record can completely account for the impact of financial risk in actual trading. For example, the ability to withstand losses or adhere to a particular trading program in spite of trading losses are material points which can also adversely affect actual trading results. Because these trades have not actually been executed, the hypothetical results may have under or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. There are numerous other factors related to the markets in general or to the implementation of any specific trading program which cannot be fully accounted for in simulated trading or in the preparation of hypothetical performance results and all, of which can adversely affect actual trading results.
This trade room and this webinars are not intended to mirror my trades or to give specific trade recommendations. Analysis themselves, I share trades and potential trades that I take for myself based on my personal analysis. With all of this rooms to teach trades, I identify specific areas of trade and then to themselves, but ultimately the decision is yours. Trading is extremely risky, and if you do decide to follow my personal trades, you do so at your own risk and could potentially lose your entire account and even more. I'm not always profitable and I have routine drawdowns on my trading accounts. The spreadsheet you have access to is my personal spreadsheet that I use to enter zone values and ATR values, and I'll be pinpointing exact prices for my trades. You can see when I enter zone prices into the master spreadsheet as well as prices that I trade, whether you want to go long or short. You have the ability to copy the spreadsheet and enter your own values and use mine to confirm zone prices until you're able to draw the zones correctly yourself. The spreadsheet is not telling you which direction to trade, as it has entry prices and stop prices for both long and short positions depending on which way you personally decide to trade. Alrighty. Good morning. Alright, so number just came out in equities. I've been short here for a while off of a Dumb and Dumber event, one of my 6 trading setups. Actually, let me post this stuff in the room. This is this document. We'll go over it a little bit. Posted that in YouTube, and I will post it in Discord. All right, so I've been in the short forever. It feels like it's just being tortured. I did make a mistake. I just got out of a couple right here. I should have been out of a couple into the number. It was close enough to one of my targets. We'll go over that here in a second. But well, first of all, we have a very exciting announcement, at least for me. We have a zone drawing tool that is in the works. Still, it's not available yet. I'm testing it, but a programmer in my room I'm working with, and he's designed this. It's awesome. So you guys, it's awesome for me. It's going to save me years off my life drawing zones, and it's going to be great for you guys. You're going to have to see me sit here and draw zones all day long. It's still not perfect as far as zone drawing the exact areas. It does what I asked it to do. I asked him to program it when I initially, when we were first drawing these zones. But as this has evolved, we've learned the correct way to draw zones based on the reset mode that we're on these SI indicator icebergs and stop runs. We'll go over that here at length today, I'm sure. So anyway, this zone drawing tool is awesome. So you'll see when something fires off, it automatically draws a zone. It tells you how wide the zone is.
Iceberg sells 151 contracts.
And it's across all products. So this is very, very helpful, and it's very easy to adjust, and you'll see all that here. So what I do want to pay attention to here is there has been, these have not been threshold icebergs, but you can see these add up to about 1,000 in this area. So what I'm going to do here is so this zone drawing tool is set for my thresholds, right? So 500 for stops, for instance. Each product I have thresholds that are tradable events. ES, it's 500 for stops, 700 for ice. Well, it's not going to draw this zone because these are individual events. But when you get events all coming in the same area, you want to definitely pay attention and draw that zone. So you got, so 700 is my threshold. You got 460 here, another 274, so that alone is a threshold. Then you had another 150, and then another 450. So you got over 1,000 icebergs here. So I'm going to draw this zone manually, like I always have, up until basically yesterday. I've been drawing them manually, and then I'm going to trail my stop to this most recent event, my short stop. I'm real sick of watching it anyway, so if it comes up and stops me out, so be it.
For nice iceberg sells EC 412 contracts.
All right, so that's the new zone that I have, 45, 38, 50 to 34 quarter. So let me just put this in and we'll go over where I'll get out if this thing keeps moving down, and I can actually add to this trade too. So this is the spreadsheet that I use. It's available to my trade room and you guys as well now. We'll go over this, but you just go to, it's in that document I just posted, but this is so you can get access to this spreadsheet. It should be about $4,900 a month. That's how valuable it is. Then you get access to my charts too, or both, but we'll go over that stuff here throughout the webinar. Let me just get this zone in real quick and then we'll, I already forgot the bottom of it. Say 34.75. Yeah, 45, 34.75. So if you guys want alerts on this when the zone tool is available, because it's going to be like a subscription type of product, just go to my website, thepulcinitrader.com, and there's like an email list that you can get on, and then you'll also know when I release. I have a new course coming out too, the ATR reversion course. We'll go over that a little bit today, and then a trading strategies course is coming as well. So if you're on that subscriber list, then you'll get alerts when those come out. All right, so anyway, I've had an order working in here to get out of half of these shorts.
S&P stock sell ES
I just got filled.
1447 contracts.
So that's good. Complete torture treatment, but this was what I was looking at. So I pay myself as the market makes money to me. Direct quote out of Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. I was watching the top of this multi-day market profile area. This goes back, I think this is over a week of days. Yeah, it started 9/6.
Sold ice iceberg by DC 159
It
contracts.
was also confluent with daily value area. So daily value area is just one standard deviation of VWAP. So I got out of, I had 9, I was short 9 MES. I got out of, how many did I get out of there? I got out of 5 right there. So now I let it ride. The rest of it I will let ride until the major lugs. We'll go over the Ludwig levels. So 2150 I'll be watching very closely, or an opposing volume event. So we just got the volume event. And you can see it just drew on the chart by itself. I mean, this thing is just, I'm so giddy. I'm like literally a kid on Christmas Day using this thing. It's going to save me hours off of my life, or back on my life.
160 contracts.
So you can see it needs to be adjusted. It's very easy to adjust. So that you go in this ellipse here, and I can adjust up or down. So I'm going to move this actually down because it started there. So remember, these sweeps many times, well, they get first right to the order book, and then stops come in. So you don't really know where these stop runs were. Yeah, it draws on the chart, but the sweeps may have triggered it. So I started where the sweeps start, but it obviously didn't start. You can see the sweeps on the chart here. This is why you want the sweeps indicator as well to help you draw these zones. The sweep started here, but I know that's not where the stop runs were because they would have fired off up there, right? So somebody started sweeping, somebody came in and bought some, somebody swept some more. So I know that's not the price where the stop started, but I have to just assume the stops were here because they fired off down here, but I will start drawing where the sweeps start. So that's how I drew that zone, and the bottom of the zone was perfect on its own. So that's the new setup. So now I will draw this zone. I will trail my stop to this newest event, and then I can add to this short potentially. 45, 31 quarter to 29 quarter is the bottom. So you just come to your spreadsheet. 40. Oops. Dummy alert. 531. And ATR. there is 5.21. All right, so if I were to short off of this particular setup, I'd be stopping out at 37 quarters. So I will trail my stop now. So the way I trail my stops, unlike majority of traders, and that's the reason the majority of traders don't make money, is because they trail their stops to random areas just because they want to book profit, which is not correct, because if you think about it, the market doesn't care about what you want to do. The market cares about volume events, right? Volume events and volatility. Sorry, hold on one second, guys. All right, so my original stop, I got short off of this event up here. This was an Izzy zone. So these are, again, you can get access. You get access to this in my room, or you can get the subscription to this. So this was an important inflection zone that I draw on my bar charts. So these things are powerful in their own right, but when you get the volume event, which I need to see to trade off of them, I take those trades aggressively. So the stop run fired off in that event, or I mean, the event happened in this zone, and I shorted it immediately out of there. Right. So that was an Izzy trade, we call it in the room, one of my trading strategies. So at the time, my stop was above the zone, an ATR plus 10%. That's how I judge it. So for me to be wrong, I forced this market to come all the way back, however many ATRs, get through the volume event, and then push another ATR, average true range I'm talking about, outside of the zone. We'll go over that. I'm using the 5-minute Wilders, and we found a way to get it on Sierra chart too. I'll show you guys. So that's what I demand to be stopped out of my trade, so I avoid being algoed to death. Like you see here, when you look at a market and it looks like a Christmas tree, these are just algos playing games with you guys, right? So that's what I demand to be stopped out of my trade. So now there was a new event. I just didn't even get a chance to put this in, but I would have trailed my stop to that. And now I have another event, and I'm going to trail my stop to that event. So set 37 quarter, I will not stop out or enter trade in the prior events. So I'm going to move it just outside here. We'll move it to 39. And that will be pretty much a scratch on the rest of the trade. I shorted right at 39, and I actually made a mistake. I had the zone. The zone was not correct. It cost myself a couple points on the entry. Either way, this comes up to 39. But see what I'm forcing this market to do now, right? Like, I don't put the stop in the middle of nowhere. And you see how this market reacted to that volume event we just drew, right? So I'm forcing this. If this trade is going to be stopped out, I'm making this thing get an ATR above this most recent event. And then I'm making it get through this entire prior volume event for me to say I'm wrong. If not, I just sit here and get tortured and let it go. If you expect this kind of trade, you're not doing stupid crap like, oh my God, I can't handle this. I got to get out. I don't want to give this back on every up, move, down, move, up, move, down, move. You see what I'm saying? So I will put that stop up here. If it comes out and stops me out, great. I made a little money on half. I scratch the rest and then on to the next trade. And there's always another trade right around the corner. So I'll put that at 39. All right, so that is working. So now I either get stopped out or I'm looking at blue lug to get out. So they can whipsaw it all they want. And you can see this bounced off one of my important areas, right? So this is why I get out of some of my position. And this is why if you're trading ES and you're only trading one, like I don't know why people are against trading the micros. It's not like there's nothing wrong with trading micros, and it's actually better because instead of having one ES on, you could put on 10 micros, and then you can piece out at certain areas, so you can get out of a third at an important area, and you still have 7 on, that type of thing, right? If you're trading just one big ES, even S&P, then it's all or nothing, and then you're done, right? And then this thing can continue to go 30 points, and I'm out of the trade, right? So highly recommend trading micros, for smaller accounts. If you can trade multiple contracts with your big contracts, then that's fine. But you want to be able to get out of in certain areas. So these are my certain areas. This is directly out of trading the zone, and I've added my own stuff. But one of his main things is I pay myself as the money makes the money available to me. These are the areas that I will piece out of trades. Obviously, Ludwig levels, we'll go over those. Market profile, composite. Whoops, didn't want to do that. Market profile, composite, highs, lows, points of controls. That was where I got out of some right there at the market profile, composite high. And then that was confluent with VWAP, extreme standard deviation. It wasn't extreme, but it was at the time.
daily value area low. So when you get multiple things in one area, that's called confluence. You want to pay attention. So what I'm really hoping here is this gets in this market profile composite, this multi-day, since 9/6, these days have lined up the value areas. The tendencies when markets get into composite value areas is to get to the other side, and that's what I'd be looking at. So that's on tap here. Let's see what happens with this volume event. So as long as this volume event, the market doesn't get an ATR above here, and that is in the spreadsheet as well. So that price, I want to stay on top of this ATR, and then we'll determine. So as long as this market doesn't get up to the invalidation price for a short 36 quarter, I can short off of this event as well. It's a different trading strategy, but I will take a short here too. Potentially, we got to look at algo guy to make sure it's in line. So this would be a potential called BARC. It's a blind ATR retest failure. Blind meaning no matter where it occurs, I'm taking that trade. It's contingent on algo guy. We'll go over that, but this could be anywhere. And if I get this type of pattern, then I'm gonna take a short for that trading strategy. And these are my personal trading strategy. So there's a lot of misconception out there what I'm doing here, right? These are important areas that I look for to trade. These, let's see, I don't have it. Let me show you guys here. So this is my
NQ stock sell NQ 160 contracts.
I'll come back to this in a second. You got to be quick with NASDAQ because it is a flyer. So I haven't done anything in NASDAQ today. These zones have been firing off, but they were like this one was a bullish setup, but I didn't take it because it was against algo guy. So this is the one filter I use for my BARF and my lick trades. We'll go over those, but you see, this is algo guy. We call it algo guy. It's just an exponential moving average. This is the short term, the blue, the long terms here. You can see it keeps bouncing off the longer term. But I won't take BARC trades or liquidity trades if it's against algo guy. So there was a setup as far as this last setup in NASDAQ before the one that just fired off was bullish, but I didn't take it because I'm not fighting algo guy because this thing's very powerful and you can get some major trends. I'm talking days with this thing. So I don't fade that, but here's your new event. How awesome is that? How awesome is it just for you guys, to sit here and watch me draw these zones with this edit tool from 1983? It's like literally, I think they had it. They had this edit tool like on Atari, I think, from 1983. So there, like I said, you got to adjust these right now. It's not perfect yet, but this is just drawing the zone. So the other thing too, so there's going to be a subscription for this, but then there's also, this is in the works. Hopefully we're going to have it so it will populate into the spreadsheet automatically for you. And then you can also have, it'll be like a premium type of thing where you will get, as I draw the zones, as the zones populate and I like adjust them or whatever, they populate, they will populate onto your Bookmap, right? So you don't have to do anything. So, I mean, if you have the tool, you won't probably have to do anything, but there are times you're going to have to adjust these, and this looks like one of them anyway. So we'll go over this quickly. So a lot of good things in the work here. So we talk about these sweeps starting the stop runs. Well, it couldn't have been there because you see a blue bubble come in. So that couldn't have been where this sweep started the stop run. So I'm going to go down to there. So I go right in the middle of my little thing. And then I just move this down to here. Right there. And what's awesome about this too is it puts the prices on the chart for me. So I don't have to go over here and try to fish out where we're at. Or where that volume event started. So I think, let's see if that might be off a little bit here. Maybe one tick. Yeah, that's right. So that zone, that volume event was 34 quarter to 31.50. And you can see this was threshold 159 and it drew it by itself. So cool. So let's see. So this already looks like a bullish event. It is a bullish event, but I'm not fading algo guys. So I'm just going to let this play out. I'm not going to trade this event. I'm not even going to put this in the spreadsheet right now. So because I'm going against algo guy, the only thing I may be missing, this could have been an Izzy trade. Let's see if this was an important inflection zone. It was not. We're basically sitting right there. So into this zone, I would have taken a long off of that, an Izzy long, regardless of what algo guy's telling me. The only thing I got to check for my aggressive trades is if was it at a lug with major Ludwig level lugs. We'll go over those. The second most powerful thing I've ever seen in futures trading. It was not. So this is an example of merging these days. So this was another day yesterday that just stayed. You can see it's really struggled. So this is telling you something, right? We talk about coming up with a thesis every day. I come up with a thesis on structure. We'll go over that on the bar charts, but I come up with a thesis on market profile of what's going on for that day and with the Ludwig levels. So yesterday you can see this struggle to get outside of this market profile composite. And this again was like a 8-9 day. Yeah, this was from started 9-6 as well. So that's how many days are in this market profile composite. These things are very, very powerful for trading purposes, right? Tried to get out, couldn't do it, got back inside, basically closed at the point of control. Today, once again, tried to get out, couldn't do it, back inside. Very likely it comes to the bottom here. That's what should happen. If this is able to recover and get back out of here, that's telling you something too. So trading is all if-then scenarios. So I have a thesis right now that this is going to break down to at least the bottom of here and maybe through there and then mid to zero, I'm hoping. But if that does not happen and this is able to get back out of here, well, I got to change my tune. That's what trading is. And this is why using these real-time volume event clears up so much where you're like sitting here, well, what do I do? I don't know what to do here. If you're just staring at bar charts or market profile, should I go short here? Should I go long? Well, you let the volume events tell you the real-time volume events that are occurring in the market, which is the most important thing you can possibly look at. It'll guide you on which way to trade, right? So I am bearish these markets, but does not mean I will not take longs given if it fits my strategy because I'm a day trader, right? So again, if this was an algo guy or this was an Izzy zone, I would have gone, algo guy was in my direction, I would have gone long off this setup. Right now I'm not going long, but say this moves a little higher, algo guy crosses back positive and I get a volume event, I will take a long even though I'm longer term bearish these markets. All right, so we'll see how this pans out here. I still have that ES trade on. I'm assuming I'm going to get stopped out here pretty soon. But like I said, I took out half. It's not even close yet. So see how this is struggling at this prior volume event. Somebody told me that these are the most important things in trading. So I'm forcing these things to get through here, forcing it to get through here to stop me out. So we'll see. If it does it, that's telling you something too, right? It's all about understanding what should happen, right? So
November Iceberg by CL 152 contracts.
if my bearish thesis is correct, then this should, something just happened in crude by the way, this is still going to go lower. If this rips, if this proves to be a bullish event and it's able to rip through that prior event that was already proven bearish because it got the ATR below there, that's telling me something. Now I got to shift gears and say, okay, I'm looking for longs and I can trade. So all my thesis does is it gives me, I will trade bigger in that direction, right? So I'll take trades both ways, but I trade bigger if it's with my thesis, right? So I don't really have a real strong thesis right here in this exact area we're at because this is just still smack dab in this, and this is what you see on the market profile. This is basically this is 9-6 or longer. That's a balance area. What's a balance area? It's just traders placing bets. Longer term traders placing bets. The move out of this balance area is very, very likely going to lead to a whopper move, right? Do I know which way it's going to break? No, nobody does. But I sit here and I watch my volume events, and it's going to tell me what to do, right? So anyway, right here where we're at, I have no opinion on this market, right? What is important here, I take that back. This is a very important area. If this gets through this zone, I mean, it's going to be a breakout of this balance anyway. But when you narrow down, everything's fractal, right? So you can narrow this down even more. So we've been talking about this in my room. So this market broke down from this balance, came back, tested the high volume node of this. This is the pattern all the time, like literally almost all the time. It either breaks down and retests the bottom and dies, or it'll retest the high volume node and die. What's a high volume node? It's just the middle of a balance area where the most trade occurred, right? It's just an area, right? But you can see this selling tail, which was inherently bearish in its own right, happened right at the high volume node. So I was saying this thing's going to die. And then, remember about if-then scenarios and ready to pivot? Then we had buying tail, buying tail, buying tail, buying tail, all in this important zone where this happened here and that happened there. So now I'm thinking, okay, well, that's not breaking. Then I said to my room, this tail is going to be the line in the sand. If it can get above that tail, watch out. It tried again. It's either going to, like, if this comes back, then I'm expecting that. If this can get above this zone, this is very, very likely going to rip. So I just sit here like a sniper and I wait, right? So I did take a short in here. If I stop out, it's giving me information, and then if this breaks out through the zone, my point, what I'm trying to get at, I will trade all long setups double size or more, depending on where we're at. If this breaks below here and gets through this zone, then I will take all shorts double size because it's fitting the thesis. Right here, I have no strong opinion right where it's at. So that's how you use your thesis. The better you get at this stuff and understanding market structure, market profile, the lugs, how it's reacting to the lugs like during the day, that gives you direction for your thesis. Then you can trade bigger when you get these volume modes. All right, I gotta take a breath. Hold on one second, guys. All right, see if you guys got any questions so I can breathe here. Algo guy. I just named it Algo guy because it's literally just algos that play off this thing, right? So these are exponential moving averages. I already showed that. I may have already explained this since you asked that question, but this is here. I post this for you guys every week. Hold on a second. This will explain it in detail, and you can come up with so many trading strategies just from this thing alone. This is a great explanation of it. I think they talk about how to construct it, but either way, when you come to my room, you get all my templates, like Sierra chart, and you get my Thinkorswim stuff. I'm going to be moving off of Thinkorswim. Oh, that's the other thing too. I want to show you guys. If you have NinjaTrader, the zone drawing tool is going to be even cooler. I'll show you this here in a second. All right, so I put that in the exponential moving average. It's in the chat in the YouTube. I'll put it in Discord too. Hold on one second here. Nothing's going on here, so we're not really missing anything. I do have to go check out crude. The problem is crude is rolling right now, months, and I hate when it rolls. So are equities, but it's just a huge pain in the ass because the volume's split. Hold on, I'm trying to find my room here. 57 BCF. All right, I put that in the Discord room as well. So you can read all about that. I already went over that, but what was I just going to go over? I forgot what I was going to go over. Oh, that new drawing tool. So you guys can see here, I posted this yesterday.
Nat gas iceberg by NG, 156 contracts.
This is my trade room here. You can get all this on my web. Put it in the document. You can find it there. Anyway, this is where the main chat. There you go. I love the zero. Thank you, Madam Shizzle. Anyway, that's what I posted yesterday. It's just showing you what this thing's going to look like with NinjaTrader. If I can find it. Let's see here. There it is right here. So look how cool this thing is. So it will draw the zone like you guys are seeing, right? Then it'll bring it over, the zone over to NinjaTrader. Then it's showing you your ATR stuff and the position sizing based on ATR, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of it. This is awesome, right? So I'm switching to NinjaTrader soon. Thinkorswim sucks and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of their charting platform. It's a joke. They don't roll in time.
Stock by NG, 240 contracts.
So I'll be switching here shortly. So the main reason I was using NinjaTrader, Thinkorswim, I just stopped out of that ES. So I made a little bit, got out at an important area, and I just stopped out. Hopefully it's not to the tick, because that's my MO. That was literally right above there. So I made a little profit on that trade. So what NinjaTrader, or the reason I was on Thinkorswim was for Algo Guy, which someone has already figured out. They put in my trade room a couple days ago. Jordan put in the NinjaTrader specs for Algo Guy, so you can get that there. And then I was using it for the ATR, the wildest ATR. Well, Jay Labrada, he's my moderator for my room, figured out the way to get this on the ATR on Sierra chart. If you guys have Sierra chart, I'm sure you can do it on NinjaTrader too. But just come in here. Let's actually do a market I don't have yet because I haven't transferred all these markets yet. Let's see here. Let's do this one here. This is like soy meal. All right, so it doesn't matter what market, obviously. Just go to analysis, studies, then go up to ATR. This thing's very touchy when I'm not on this computer. Hold on. Or it doesn't say ATR, it says average true range right there. This one, double click, that'll bring it over here, double click, then go to moving average type and change it to the Wilder's 14 period. And it's the same exact one. They round like 1 decimal point, but it's fine. Wilder's moving average. So that's how you get that for Sierra chart. So I'm going to be done with Thinkorswim here. Just some of the stuff with their charting, it's just not excusable for how many customers they have. Like the rolls, and when you bring charts up, they won't populate where they were on all my screens. I got to sit here and spend 10 minutes repositioning my charts. They open up and they're not on the current price. It's a joke. I'm done with it. So, all right. There was an event in NQ. Let's get this. So this kind of forewarned you. I didn't do anything with you. I didn't do anything with this setup down here. But this is what I'm talking about, right? If you're sitting here bearish, you're like, yes, this thing's going to zero today, just like Madam Shizzle thought, right? Well, if this market is bearish, you should not be getting bullish volume events. This was bullish immediately. The minute this gets an ATR outside of the zone, that's a bullish event, right? So something was telling you something's up. So the minimum, you don't put on a short because this is saying no go for the shorts. And guess what? Look at that. I don't know. It's almost a 100 point move, 100 point move, sorry. All right. So anyway, I don't know if I've mentioned these real-time volume events are the most powerful thing you can use. So, all right, let's adjust this so you can see these sweeps started here. Obviously, the stop runs could not have been here because these prices already touched, right? Sweeps came in, someone tried to sell, sweeps came in. So I would say that the bottom of that zone is there. So I'm going to bring the bottom up to there. I mean, look how cool this thing is. I don't have to go back to this edit key ever unless I'm manually putting one in, and it came up to there. There's your zone. Look how fast that is. 94. And this is like bare minimum. Like, again, we'll get this. He has this set to what I told him to do, but we've changed how we draw these zones a little bit based on the spike. And, I go over that in my course, and we'll go over it a little bit here. I go over it every day in my trade room, but we do things a little differently than we were doing because I was drawing the zones wrong for about 5 years. But that tells you how powerful these areas were. I was drawing the zones wrong, not to the exact prices of them, and they still worked, right? So now we're just honing in and making them perfect. 15.5, 94.50 to 90.75. So go to your handy dandy spreadsheet, plug in the zone. Uh, 15.590.75. Plug in your ATR. Just went over that. 26.57. That just means it's rotating about. I use the 5 minute, right? I think for day trading, that's the best one to use. You can use the hourly. It's just way bigger, right? So for instance, this hourly ATR, if I can find it. The hourly ATR is 63 points, 62.65. Well, do you want to risk, you got to risk 63 points just with the ATR and then the zone and everything else. Like if you're a longer term trader or like a more of a swing trader that holds trades for the entire day or week or whatever, then yeah, you could be using this ATR. I'm a day trader, so I think 1 minute's too short, and I think the half hour is too long for day trading. I like using the 5 minute. You can use whatever you want. That's what I use, right? So it's the 5 minute ATR. Get this stuff off of here.
Russell Iceberg sell RT. 155 contracts.
I got something in the Russell, so then the spreadsheet tells you everything to do, right? It tells you which way, if this moves and this touches 21, I know this is that's why it's called a validation price. It validates that zone as a bullish event. 21 is the price. Let's see if it already got up there. Yeah, it's not yet, it's trying. So I don't do anything with the zone until it shows me what it is, as far as bullish or bearish. Next, let's see if Algo Guy is flipping. It is. It just flipped, right? So now I can take longs. I wasn't willing to take a long against it. You guys could have taken a long down there. This is the point. This was what I was getting at before. So I have important areas that I will get in aggressively for longs. That wasn't an important area to me. It wasn't an inflection zone. It wasn't a lug, right? So the whole point, this is what I was getting at before, right? So this is... So this is the course that I just put out. We have 6 distinct set up, and there's another, the 7th wonder of the world is coming. We have another one called Rocky. So it's this, right? These are the core of my trading. These setups: Dumb and Dumber, Stop and Hold, Titanic, Broken Ice, Double Whammy, Step Bros, right? So I look for these events in important areas. These are the trading strategies are my important areas. Ludwig levels, trade to the liquidity, inflection zone, Izzy, that's what we've been talking about. Blind ATR, a bark, just an ATR retest failure. A Dumb and Dumber, a Dad. We'll go over these if they come up. Algo got cross. There actually wasn't algo got cross there. It wasn't heavy volume. But the point is, these are my important areas. You may be looking at something else. You may say, I love to trade the 200-day moving average, and I like to fade it when it gets up there. Great. But I'm telling you, you're going to be way more successful. This is the 200-day moving average. You wait for a volume event, something that's happening right now, then that's when you put the trade on. That's how I trade, right? So using real-time events in important areas, that is the edge. And you're not, in my opinion, and I've been doing this for a long time, I don't know if I mentioned that, this is the most powerful thing you can use in your trading, in futures trading, because it's volume. This is what drives markets. Price doesn't drive market. Volume drives market. Someone has to be buying and selling. Just use common sense, right? All right, so that, let's see if did that get up to our, I forget what it was, 21? 21 was the, and then we have, this is another great thing about this spreadsheet. This is what my next course is going to be on. This top one is the position trading side of the spreadsheet. So these are the strategies I just told you. That's right. It's looking for bigger moves. The bottom part of this spreadsheet is called the ATR reversion strategy. That is when you take trades, because this all was born from in my room. All I've ever said for 5 years of doing webinars for Bookmap and in my trade room is when the market moves away from these volume events, this is my opinion from watching thousands of these, that it's at least 70% of the time it'll come back to the zone, right? Well, the only thing that is, not crystal clear, 70% is a real good winning percentage. You just don't know how many ATRs away before it does that, right? So we have the price to get in as it gets 1 ATR, comes back. We have the price to get in, gets 2 ATRs, and comes back. And the price for 3s. The sweet spot for equities are usually 1s and 2s. So if you're going to do this trade, you're just like an algo, and this trade is incredible. If you have problems sitting in trades, there is no subjectiveness to this trade, right? There are a couple of disqualifiers, and that's going to be in the course. We won't really get into those today because I don't take these on the webinars because I can't keep up with them. You got to be quick, right? We're going to have this automated eventually, but it's not there yet. Anyway, it's automatic. You put your entry at 1850, you're stopping at 50 quarter, you're playing back to the zone. It's just literally playing for that. That's it. And it really helps you when you just plug this in and you just let it work. And if you screw it up, then that's your fault, right? So it's like your own personal algo, right? So the other thing too, this is a disqualifier. I'll go over this closely. You want to be very careful taking trades when algo guy is crossing, right? So the volume event happened as this was crossing. That was a little later, but you may want to stay away from that. But that'll be in my course. All right, so I'm just looking at these prices. So if you took the 1 ATR, you were in an 1850 out at 50 quarter. If you take the 2, you're in a 42 quarter out at 75, right? So if you're going to do it, you need to do it. You need to do every one of them. You can't be sporadic. Like, for instance, I don't do these on my webinars. Yesterday afternoon, I took one in my trade room. I took one in R2Y, just a random one, and I lost. So it's like, if you do things randomly, you're going to get random results. If you're going to commit to this trade, you need to take as many possible. It's just like a casino. We talk about this every single webinar, right? Casinos know in the short term, it's random, right? They're random events. In the long term, they know the math is with them. So our math is the edge. It's the edge of the SI events. It's the edge of the reversion trade. So I know the more trades I can put on, the better the edge will fit my probabilities, right? It's just like a casino. Someone comes in and starts playing blackjack and beats them for an hour. Do they shut down the table and close the casino because they say it doesn't work? No, they just say, okay, we'll just deal you more. We know you're going to lose your money after a while. Why do you think casinos are in business? They don't lose money. Why? Because the math's in their favor. Well, this is the math. The edge, the math for you, for us, for me, are the volume events and how you trade them, right? If you can literally internalize this, and Again, I always joke, it's half of a joke. If you come in my trade room, you have to get this tattooed to your forehead. Minimum, read it every day. If you can internalize this stuff, especially the 5 truths, you are on your way to becoming a profitable trader. If you can't accept this stuff, you have no chance. So stop wasting your time and go work for the man. That's what I got to say about that. Anything can happen. You don't need to know what's going to happen next in order to make money. There is a random distribution. Yesterday, I took the Russell. It was random. I don't take them all because I can't keep up with them. I'm like, I'll take this one. Loser. That's what's going to happen. You do random things, you get random results. Over the long run, if I take every single Russell, then it's a profitable trade. I know it's a profitable trade because I've been watching for 5 years. The edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. Every moment in the market is unique. If you guys can internalize this, you are on your way. I'll refer to that many times. I love to go on rants on that thing because it's the truth. It's the light. Speaking of Russell, I think I missed something here. Let's see if it drew the zone. Hey, look at that. Perfect. And then it drew another event here too. All right, so this is the most recent one. The default, you always want to refer to your most recent event. This was 245. Threshold in Russell is 150, so this is definitely tradable. And it's still in this prior bias event too, so let's just make sure the zone is correct. If you got questions, throw them in not Bookmap, YouTube, and I'll answer them as best as I can. So you can see this market came up, see this blue buy bubble, that triggered this iceberg, right? Then it came up here again, triggered more. Then it came up here again, triggered more, right? So this zone could be narrowed down because this movement down here was not part of that iceberg. It was when it tagged, right? You want it, if it's increasing, like this was just plateauing. So this, I have it on reset mode, right? So that always will stop drawing at the 737 mark. Well, that's kind of me imposing my will on the market, right? So I got to know how to draw these zones, and that's what we've gotten much better at. The developer...
NQ stock by NQ, 153 contracts.
So the developer, I just said, hey, draw this, because this is how I used to draw the zones. I told you I've been doing it wrong for 5 years, and I finally listened to Bruce, and he finally explained it in a way that I understood. That's not the actual zone. The zone is... This actually looks like it's a one-tick zone, to tell you the truth. Let's see. It was there, and then it plateaued. So that was not... All this price movement was not part of it. Then it plateaued back again here, like I said, and back again here. So this is pretty much a one-tick zone. That's a big difference, right? Instead of 9 ticks, it's at 1. Let me move this up. We'll go over to NASDAQ in a second here. So I'll just make it like we'll make it a tick wide. But I think you can just literally put in one price here, but we'll just make it a tick wide, just so for better viewing experience. All right, that's that. So I'll be back here. I want to, because a lot of people trade the Nasdaq, so I'll see what's going on in Nasdaq. So like I said, I mean,
Nat gas iceberg sell NG, 222 contracts.
So look at this. This just keeps you out. If you were bearish, first of all, if you just said I'm shorting because I'm bearish, you're probably done for the day. You just got your head ripped off. These events told me, get the hell out of the way, right? And actually, did this retest this zone? Did I miss this trade? It doesn't look like it. I don't think that got the 8. No, that didn't get an ATR either. So these events, they're just ripped. They're not retesting the zone. It's actually very rare. Mariah Carey are very rare. It's a joke. It's a Macklemore song. Let's see here. You gotta laugh when you trade, guys, or you'll lose your mind. Take it from me. Speaking of which, I thought I would have the videos, so I finally bit the bullet and took all my trading videos to it's like a transfer place. It cost me like $400. I thought they'd be done by today. They aren't, but they'll definitely be done by next week, and you guys can watch me trade. Like I said, if you are offended by swearing, then you do not want to watch that video, or be on that webinar, I should say. All right, so that looks like this one's pretty close. So let's move this down a smidge. That's how I would draw that. So this looks like it was back to back here. This was not threshold. But you could, we're looking for areas of loaded up or trapped traders, right? I mean, these are back to back. Just want to see where this started. It's an extra 5 points. I'm going to include both of these. So this is where it gets a little subjective, right? You got to, it's more experience you have drawing these than or identifying these and drawing them, the better you'll get at it. But I want to incorporate. Yeah, I could do it. So you had a little bit here, more here, more here. So I can start that. I don't know if I need to start where it was 37, but I'll start it where it got to 100, basically. Or where this started, which was right about there. So just use your crosshair and go up right there. It had to have been that price there. So that's 42. So let's just bring this down to 42, and then I'll put this over the
Nat
chart.
gas ice iceberg by NG, 151 contracts.
I don't know if I mentioned I love this thing. There you go. There's your zone. All right, some stuff firing off in that gas will go over there. Like this is what I tell you guys every webinar. You don't want to be, just pigeonholing yourself to one or two markets. These volume events work in every market. They're the same patterns in every single futures market as long as you know your thresholds, right? That's what my course goes over as well. 1560, 657, and 42. So it's a 15-point zone, which is, it's not bad. It's not that wide. I forgot what I said because I have no short-term memory anymore. 15657. Be nice to put a trade on. These just didn't fit my parameters. So you see, I don't force things, right? If I don't get what I want to see, I'm not trading. And if you can't do that, you're not going to be around for very long. And then that's going to lead me to my other rant. We'll get into that in a second. Someone posted something on YouTube, which was like a backhanded comment. I went over yesterday, but I got to cover it again because it makes no sense to me. 27.05. All right, so let's go through the process. I got my zone built. Are we in an important area? We sure are. This is an Izzy zone. Right? This is a straight move into an Izzy zone. I will take the short if it moves out of here aggressively. This is what I did in ES this morning before I got on the webinar. I took this exact type of trade and it was profitable. I made a little bit on it and came back for the rest, but I made a little bit. I would have gone over that. But here we are again. So if I get an ES, the first one was this one, and I caught it, got out at that important area that we talked about, or half of them, and I stopped out of the rest for a scratch for the rest of them. If I get a volume event here, I'll take it short. But I'm telling you, if this gets through this zone, watch out. This is already bullish. I already said, remember I said about this tail here? You got a tail there, then you got two more bullish tails there. This thing looks like that. So if this breaks a little higher and I start getting bullish events, I am trading at least double size to the upside. Remember, you have to control your risk for the day. That's another great thing about this spreadsheet, again, that you get access to on my website. On this, that's this. You plug in your risk, and you don't have to sit here and be inconsistent with what size you're trading. So on these Apex accounts that I'm trading, we'll go over that a little later too. They're 5,000. It says 150,000 or $5,000 accounts. You can only lose $5,000. It's a trailing stop too. I'm risking 10%, so I'm risking $500 a trade, right? So you're trading a $100,000 account. You plug that in. You shouldn't be risking 10% on any trade if you're trading a real money account. You're risking, if you want to follow, max 2%, right? If I love a trade, I'm going to trade. Like if my thesis in the direction of these volume events, I will. If I had a $100,000 account, I would trade 4%. You can trade 6%. You should not be losing more than 6% of your account size on any given day, ever, right? So if you love a trade, there's nothing wrong with putting on a 6% trade. If you lose, you got to be done for the day. You have to have that discipline. I'm not going to go into my rant of how I ignored my loss limits and it cost me, $1.4 million in 2 days, 2 different days, right? But point is, you have to respect your risk. But if you love a trade, like what I was telling you, I've told you guys before, when I got back in the business in 2017, because I was knocked out of the business because algos knocked me out, I was training to trade stocks with S&B Capital, and they literally make their traders come up with their A+ trades, and they make them trade them bigger size. So, but you still have to have your loss limit for the day. So you want to have trades that you go for the throat, right? Like that's fine.
Nat gas ice iceberg sell NG, 151 contract.
But you got to be ready. You got to be okay with stopping if you're wrong on it. See what I'm saying? All right, so let's I'm going to trade this NASDAQ because if this moves out of here. So I will trade this to the short side as long as it doesn't get an ATR above here. That's the invalidation for me, right? So you go over here on the short side of the spreadsheet. If this touches 615, I cannot put on a short. And this is actually a bullish event. And then what I will do is then I will trade Barks, blind ATR retest failure. That's one of the trading strategies. All right, and a potential to see if we can trade a lick trade. So a lick trade is just trading to the heavy liquidity. There is some up here. I would consider liquidity. I mean, you can always make it look however you want, but that's pretty heavy, right? So Bark and lick strategies. I just showed you the strategies. So we got the volume event. That's the core of my trading. And then I would take a Bark long, blind ATR retest confirm. We used to call BARF. Now it's Bark. And then lick. So the lick trade is literally a trade where I will not get out until it gets to the liquidity. I may get out of some there and then there. So that's what's in store to the upside if I go long. As long as this doesn't get to that invalidation price. Hold on, is that right? Did I put the right zone in here? No, I did not put the right zone. Hold on. I got the wrong handle, I think. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong side. That's the validation price. I'm sorry. Invalidation price is 84. I was on the wrong thing. So to short this, if this market touches 84, I cannot short it. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. So it didn't get up to 84 yet. The short's still on the table. Now to go long, if this market touches 84, it's the same thing. It invalidates the short, but it validates the long. See that? See how cool that is? Then I can take my long trades, right? So I sit here and wait like a sniper. Oh, I just got something for my trade room. Usually that's not good. Maybe did I get cut off or something? Hold on here. Why did I lose my Discord? Well, guys, I might as well just hop on over here, see what's going on. Oh, that's just someone messaging me. All right. All right, let's see if you guys got any questions while we wait. Oh, here's Captain Price. Mr. Caffeine's back in here. Dude, you got to participate more. Actually, you need to come in my trade room because that's what I'm always complaining to those guys about is not participating. You actually probably would be a little bit over the top. Oh, Christian's on here. Christian just bought the course. He's Italian. I don't know how he's even understanding what I'm saying here. But I got you. I will send you because I'm doing subtitles for Italian or Spanish if you guys want that if you get the course. But I'm going to send you that right after this webinar. I'm going to upload it to the YouTube private, and you'll get it with the subtitles. Captain Price, just very nice. Thank you. Trade and practice account. So this is the exact stuff, guys, that I don't want in my trade room, right? So you see this? I'm just making an example of you, Captain Price. You can say whatever you want in here, but if you come in my trade room, I don't. Nobody cares unless you're sharing your profit, and then you're obviously it's not even real. Nobody cares that you had a very nice trade unless you say what it is, right? If you're in my trade room, this is fine to say. If you say, oh, because I took that Bark trade or I took that Izzy trade, that's fine. But just that, nobody gives a flying you know what that you had a very nice trade unless you say why you had a very nice trade. So that's one of the rules of my trade room. I can't even keep up with all your stuff. Stephanie S., thanks a lot for the info. Pretty cool that you're trading 12 million in crude. I don't know what that means. I never traded crude. When I was a big trader, it was all ES. And I made $15 million over 3 years. And I'm going to show you guys. So what I was trying to explain in my room yesterday too is how easy these markets are to manipulate. So what I tell you every single week is if you think these markets aren't manipulated, you're absolutely crazy. Does that mean you just don't trade and you say there's no way I can make money? No. With this information, you can see exactly what the big money is doing. That's the point. So if you can't beat them, join them. So my point is you're going to see in these videos, and I will have them by next week, I'm almost 100%, how I used to manipulate the market. I used to be up and down the order book just running people. I would be this would be me. This was before algos, right? This would be me. putting in, pulling, putting. So I was spoofing, I was screwing around. Back then, spoofing was legal, right? They didn't outlaw spoofing till like 2007 or 2008, I think. So I would just play games with the market all day long, and you're going to see that. So my point is, if a little guy like me, I mean, I could put on 3,000 contracts back then. Trust me, there's firms that could put on a lot more than 3,000 contracts. You don't think they're manipulating these markets? You're crazy, right? So the point is, when you watch the videos, you're going to be like, wow, it's that easy to manipulate markets. So that's why this information is so important. If you don't have this information, you don't have all the information. I don't care, say it every webinar too, I don't care how great of a trader you are, you do not have all the information. You can be 10 times better or more if you have this information and know how to trade these areas. Anyway, the latest in Q play was triple bottom on confluence, 2 big median lines. Right, but if you get the setup down there, that gives you, that's great. I don't care if you've got 15 lines down there of different indicators. I can care less unless I get something real time happening. And if that was the area and you were watching these volume events, that would have given you green light and very good confidence to go for it, right? So if you were, this is the area you're talking about, I'm going to assume, if not, just pretend it was. You're like, there's my volume event, there's a Dumb and Dumber, this is one of my 6 setups. You're in right there. How's that trade? Pretty good, right? But you got your confirmation with something that's happening right now in the market. Captain Price, my goodness gracious, man. Do you drink a pot of coffee every morning? I can't even, there's someone else. Deborah gave, I'm assuming she's laughing out loud at Captain Price. Desto Arts. So I have 1.14 in drawdown left, but need to make one more trade tomorrow. Okay, you're talking about your Apex account, I'm assuming. Stephanie, she's pointing out this is exactly what I want in my trade room. I think she pointed out a crude setup. Let's see if it drew it on here. So he didn't have this set up for November because it's just rolling today, but this is what I think she was talking about. Right around there, it was actually, I got a 200 on mine. So we can draw that here in a second. I got to manually draw it. It's only drawing crude so it's rolling basically today. So it's only drawing crude and there's been nothing in here. This is the problem with the roll, like you get the volume split, so there's been nothing in here. Oh, the other great thing about this drawing tool, so when you restart your bookmap, like I didn't start this till like 5:15. I hate this Windows crap. Hold on. I didn't start my bookmap till like 5:15, and I opened it up, and I'm like, holy crap, that drew an event that I didn't even have my bookmap started for, right? So like, look at this. Like, wait. Yeah, so look at this. It'll populate market pulse, but it won't populate prior events. So this is where I turn it on, but you can see here, it had already drawn an event that I didn't even have my bookmap running for. How cool is that? I mean, his machine has to be running, and we're gonna get that figured out. We're gonna have like a centralized machine that's always running. But the point is, you can go back and see volume events even if my computer, my bookmap wasn't running. You can see you can't see any SI information. The reason you can't see that is because it's just too much data for them to repopulate the MBO data. Like look at this. Like look at ES. Look at how much data they've processed so far in ES. This is why you don't get that backfill data, because it would overwhelm the servers. Right? I sound like a Mr. Techie guy, like I know what I'm talking about, but look at this. 3.7 million updates, right? MBO. So that's why you don't get the prior data when you open a bookmap. It would overwhelm the system. Like this is a lot as it is. Can you imagine them repopulating?
Stopped by YM, 135 contracts.
Yeah, that's out. So there's been nothing in here, by the way, since this. So again, I did not take that trade either down here. Oh, you know what I did mess up? No, I didn't mess up. So I could have gone long off of here, but I needed a retest. It just didn't retest. So Algo Guy has been bullish this entire time in ES. This thing has not crossed once. See how it bounced off the red? That was right where that stop run went. So you could, like I said, volume event, say you love Algo Guy. I love going long when it pulls back to the longer term moving average. Well, there's your volume event. You get long aggressively. This is going to be another trading strategy too, by the way, coming up here. So that's a great thing too. When I come out with this trading strategies course, just like my SI course, it's continuing education. So every time I see something new, or like an update or something, I will come in here and I will add stuff. So that's what's great about this medium now. I can add, so for instance, the 7th setup is coming. It's going to be called Rocky. That's going to be in here. You don't have to buy another course or find that out. I'm just going to add it to this. So the same thing with the trading strategies. I've got about 500 more in my head that I'm going to be adding to this. So these are just the initial ones. But when I come out with this course for these basic ones, every time I add another one, you'll get access to it, right? I just don't know what I'm going to price this course because this stuff is invaluable and it's going to be so much information over the next however many years. So I got to decide what I'm going to do with that. But all right, let's see where we're at here. So we are at the red lug here. This is a really look at how much confluence is here, guys. So if something fires off here, actually, this might be a slug. Let's see. This is a slug. I'm glad I looked over there. So again, as long as this doesn't get to that invalidation price of, so there's multiple things here. I'm going to be taking a short if this fails. Just make sure this is up to date. It's 25 now, 25.22. So as long as this doesn't get to 82.25, which is the invalidation price, it's the same as the validation price, invalidation price, 82.25. As long as it doesn't get to that price, I'm going to short this puppy. There are so many things here. So it still hasn't gotten above there, so I'm still in play. What do we have? This is the epitome of confluence. You're not going to get much better confluence than this if this area fails. First of all, you got an Izzy zone. This has failed here about 85 times, right? First of all, you had a gap down. Actually, let's go back over here. Buying tail, buying tail. But balance in here, gap down, selling tail, gap down this day, failed here again, here we are again. And it's just the top of this balance. That's number one. Number two, this is the process I follow too, by the way. So then go over here. Lugs, the second most powerful thing I've seen in 24 years of trading. Right here. Look at that. You got red lug, which is the red and blues. She calls them big red, big blues. The most powerful things you can have. These are in the trade. This is in this document, guys. Just go down here. Here's our website. This is the next page. Join the 3-day trial and say you're selling on Bookmap to get best price. That's where you find the lug levels. But anyway, I'll show you yesterday too the ridiculousness that they are. How powerful they are. I'll show you yesterday. So it was 3 different markets bounced right off the blue lug for like 100-point trade. So, or 100-tick trade. So anyway, you got red lug, you got baby lug, this purple, pink, whatever color that is. Then that's number 2, confluence. Number 3, extreme standard deviation of VWAP. This is 1 standard deviation, aka daily value area. 1.5, 2, 2.5 standard deviation. Now you got those algos that love to play that. What else do you have? Let's go over here. Market profile, composite low, came straight into that. So you had a straight move into Izzy zone, straight move into the market profile, composite low, straight move into red lug. If this fails, I'm going to trade bigger size here because there's so much on the short side, right? And it feels terrible, right? Trust me, but if this gets up to 82, I can't do that. So I'm watching this, but if this does, I'm going to short double size on this short. If it doesn't, well, what's probably going to happen if this keeps motoring up? If it gets inside here, what do you expect? The other side. And it'll probably draw new lugs, which that'll be bullish as well, depending on how it reacts to the new yellow and prior red. We'll go over that if that happens. So I have all this in my mind, right? I have no idea what's going to happen here, but the most important thing is this real-time volume event. So I'm going to wait and watch. If this gets up to 82, comes back, retest, I'll take a long. Hopefully they'll draw new lugs. I hate going long into the red lug, but we'll see what happens here. So I have that all in my mind, if-then scenario right now, right? I'm hoping this thing dies because I really, really, really want to short it. But if it doesn't, I have to adjust. I'm a day trader. I'll go long. So that's that. I just saw Hellebuck's post. That's pretty funny, Hellebuck. Let's see. What is algo guy? I already explained it. Robert, scroll up. I posted what it is too. Look at my last post. Exponential moving average. I'm assuming this is new. Maybe you said it before. I couldn't find your text with the cap and price 80,000 texts in here. So, all right, nothing else in here. Captain Price, you just seem all knowledgeable. You got to be $1 million trader, no? I mean, you just seem like you know exactly what's going to happen at all times. It's pretty interesting. All right, this is close to negating my short, which makes me sad, my potential short. 82 quarter. This is how I judge them, guys. This is just from, there you go, negated, boo. All right, so, but if this comes back, retest fails, what I want this to do is bust through a little higher and give me some new lugs, because so this is what I tell my trading room every day. I will take the barfs and the licks into the lugs because I'm trying to make it as simple as possible right now without a lot of, additional rules where people get confused, right? But you can say, I am not taking longs when we're into the red lug, we're at extreme standard deviation, and we're trying to bust in here. You may just say no longs right here. If it gets inside here and you get new lugs, fine, give it a shot. So there's nothing wrong with doing that, right? I'll take the long here, but I'm just warning you, if this doesn't draw new lugs, this could easily come back, especially where we're at, like I just went over. So we'll see here, see what happens. What I did forget to do is Mr. Torture today. So we haven't really talked about market pulse. That's the next big thing. There'll be a course on this eventually too. We have ways to trade this thing already, but it's not course worthy yet. So you can see here, this was just part of that stop run, but it shows you. So I have mine set on the biggest buying or selling the last hour. Very important information. That's this add-on, market pulse. These are all the same basically, but like NQ here. So I have mine set at 1 hour. The default, when you open it up, it's at 5 minutes. I put mine in 1 hour, and I just change my colors. Everything else is default. It's showing me when 70% of the threshold, meaning the biggest buying or biggest selling. If it's 70% or higher, it'll alert me if I had this on. So I don't have it on. I'll turn it on just so we can hear it if it fires off. And then it draws it. So you can right click on there, change your colors. So another thing I use is tick strike. Market pulse is tick strike on steroids, but I still like tick strike because I can see it's just in a different view. What I've never liked about tick strike is it doesn't show you the past stuff. So I always ask them, hey, could you give us a history so I can see, hey, what did it look like when all these FANG stocks were going plus 15, NASDAQ was going plus 15 because it ranges from 1 to 15. It's just an algo that's showing you the size of the orders coming in, the speed of coming order of the orders coming in, same with market pulse. But I want to know, hey, what did that look like and what did the market do after? They've just never, to this day, they don't have a history of it. So I used to literally videotape my screen so I can see what was going on or see some past events. So anyway, this is important information. I just really, 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 really hope we get some new lugs here so I'm not so afraid to go long here on a retest failure of that zone. The other thing I want to look at, see what kind of volume is rolling through in the footprint. So we use the footprint. Get this out of the way here. You will hear that if that goes up. So we use the footprint to judge. This is for the ATR reversion trade where you don't want to be standing in front of the really heavy volume, but it's very good to come up with lines in the sand. That's how I use it. I tried to use this for many years to trade with. I was at best mediocre. So I don't trade off of this. What was that? Oh, shockingly, I forgot to. This is unbelievable. Like, guys, this is hysterical, right? This happens to me nonstop all day. So I forgot to cancel my, remember I was short. I forgot to cancel my long. My buy stop. It fills me to the tick, and it's immediately a point and a half on my face. It's like, it's my own fault.
By NQ, 163 contracts.
So there's another thing. If you make a mistake, get the hell out of the trade. But it's just hysterical. It's like I get filled to the exact tick, and it would be nice to ever in my life come over there and say, hey, wow, look, that's a point and a half in my favor. It's always against me. But that was a mistake, okay? Because I just have so much going on, I forget to delete my damn orders out of the order book. Sorry, I had to bitch about that a little bit. It's just hysterical how it's the exact tick, though, right? Unbelievable. All right, something just fired off. What was that? So we have something new in NASDAQ. So now there's a way here. This is a variation. This is in my course, too. I'm going to keep referring to this because this is where you learn all this stuff. You can learn it. This is what I tell my trade room, too. If you come in my trade room, yeah, you can learn it on the fly. Your learning curve is going to be way steeper because you're learning it while I'm trading live. You get this, you're armed and dangerous coming in and then watching my webinars. See what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm going to show you, this is in my trade, or in my course, the advanced trading of zones, right? So there is a way now. See how this just drew this? Look how awesome this tool is. I'm just so excited about this thing. Anyway, if this goes like this, as long as it doesn't get an ATR below here, depending on what the ATR is, because that would disqualify this as a long. what I'm talking about here is there's a way, if this came back to this prior event, I could go long off this event and then trail my stop to that event. But I always divert to the most recent event. So if this gets an ATR below here, I cannot take that long off of this event, right? And then I'd be looking short. So I could still go short now off of this new event potentially, but things are still not out of the woods. It's still in the Izzy zone, flexion zone, still right here. It's where this thing has failed 85 times, feels like. We're still, I don't think we have new lugs yet. Yeah, that's where I bought that mistake right there, right at that high tick. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Unbelievable. I'll come back to the footprint here in a second. That's my life, 24 years. Nothing's changed. That's actually, I love a ES short too, into the lug. Slug's like the best winning percentage. This has got to have new lugs now, I would think. Not yet. All right, so if this fails back out of here, it'll be failing back out of this market profile composite deal. I'll still take the short here. So let's get the zone in. Let's make sure it's correct. Remember, these aren't perfectly accurate yet. It's just drawing it for this entire time. So let's make sure this is right. So this was buy ice. So you can see where this started as spike. Looks like right there. See where that red bubble came in? Well, that red bubble. So somebody was buy swiping it. That's the sweeps indicator. That's incredible information in its own right. And then someone tried to sell it, and then they started running into mouthfuls of icebergs. So they sold it there, triggered it. Sold it there, still there, increased. Came back down again, right there, increased again. See that? So that's where the bottom of the zone should be, maybe. Let's see. So if it flatlines, I know this was it. If this kept coming down and this kept going up, it came up a little bit, a couple. So actually I would bring this down to wherever this was. Actually, it looks like it's the same spot. Right around there, maybe. It's only like 1, so it's not that big of a deal. We'll see. And then I got to be careful because if you hit this X, I delete the zone. I don't want to delete the automatic zone. So that looks right. So I'm going to draw the bottom.
Traders bet on 75 basis points 2024 ECB cuts first time since September 1st.
Just trying to see. So the top should be down here. This is a pretty narrow zone in its own right. So you want to get the bubbles off too. I'll help you draw it to the exact price. I believe that's right there. So this zone is pretty much a tick, right? It just kept triggering this one price. I'll make it like it did come down a little bit there. Remember I said it went from 207 to 208, which is just one lot, but it's still basically right there. So I'm going to bring the bottom up to there. Oh, didn't want to do that. I think that's correct. Let's see. Hold on here. Kind of lost my spot here because that moved. Actually, that was down to here, right there. So this could get, obviously, it gets a little touchy, but you want accurate zones, especially if you're using the ATR and stuff to trade. So that looks accurate. 92 quarter to 89.75. Nice tight 3-point zone. Let's see what's going to go on here. Probably just missed a short. Hold on, NASDAQ. So what's great about this too is by default I keep going over here to see what prices the zone was at. They're right here, 92 quarter to 89.75. 15.92 quarter. 15.692. What did I say? 90, 89.75. ATR is 23.51. All right, so I could still short this aggressively for the Izzy, for the slug. These are the trading strategies, right? So I have a volume event at a major lug. That's the slug. I have a volume event at my Izzy zone. That's an Izzy trade. So that entry will be, if I want to go short, 62.75, as long as it doesn't invalidate at 15.75. So if this gets down to 16.75, I could put on 17.18 MNQ. But I want to make sure it's not in the middle of that prior zone, and it's real close. So this is where you have to make a decision, right? We talk about entering in prior volume events. It's asking for the minimum you're going to get is torture, right? You see how this cuts off too when the new zone's drawn? Because there would just be zones all over the place. That's another great thing about this. It just cuts it off, but you can still see where it was, right? So my point is, my short entry should be at 62.75. Well, do I want to enter? This is another subjective thing about this. Do you want to enter right into the prior volume event, or do you want to pull it down? In this case, you'd have to pull it down 20 points. Are you willing to risk go back down 20 points? If you don't want to do that, you can enter here, but I can almost promise you it's going to at least bounce off there once, right? Because these are traders that just got run over. Anyone holding their breath here that was in the order book that got run over by these stop sweeps, they're holding their breath, waiting for it to come back. When it comes back, they go, God, please, thank you, let me out. And I know this from experience. This is how I used to react. I would get loaded up. I would have my point where I would be ready to, I had my finger on the trigger to puke them, and then I would wait, and I would say, please come back. I promise I'll never do that again. I promise I'll never do anything stupid again in trading, God. Please bring it back. And then it would come back, and I would get out. And that causes that's the retest failure. If you guys can understand these concepts, it's very, very simple, but it will clear up. You will be shocked on how well you do if you view markets in that manner. So I just got to decide what I want to do here. I will probably, because it is
Russell Iceberg sell RT, 151 contracts.
I'm going to risk the 20 points because then it'll be officially. So some of the best trades, and again, watch the Pamela webinar. Speaking of which, my YouTube channel. So I wanted to go over this too, so I can rant. But if you go to my YouTube channel, just type in Scott Pulcini YouTube. It's actually on there. That's this right here. If you go here, actually I can share this too if you guys want. So these are the videos I post on here, right? We'll go over to my ranting comment here in a second. Right here. Good shareable link. All right, I'll put this in the. If you guys can find it between Captain Price's quotes, then good luck. Let me post it in the Discord as well. I've posted this many times, but there's always new traders on here, so but I'm going to go over like a scenario that she talks about. That's a great webinar. I did it over 2.5 years ago with her, and it goes over some very basic concepts because I was brand new to them and I wanted to understand them. So it was just her and I on a webinar and me asking the most basic questions. So you want to watch that. It'll help you with the Ludwig levels. Hold on, I'm trying to find this in my... I posted that in the Discord as well. All right, so anyway, let's go to this quote quickly just because it's so asinine. Right here. There we go. Oops. That's the YouTube. This is it right here. So I posted when the course came out, right? Because I alert traders and my followers. I've got like a whopping 700 followers. I'm not trying to get followers with this, guys. It's like for announcements, stuff like that. So I posted this. This is what this dude says. Hey, Scott. I know you're not getting many views and don't think you ever will because order flow is too boring to most traders, but just want to let you know you're really helping a lot of traders. So it's like he gave me a compliment, like he backhands me and then he gives me a compliment. So this was my response. I don't post videos for views. I can care less. I don't even know how that works, like the compensation stuff. I mean, I have 700 followers. The point is to get the information out to you guys, right? I post to alert traders of new content and things they can learn from. Any in caps trader that thinks order flow is boring and ignores it is not going to be around for very long. So if you think order flow is boring, good luck. Your days are numbered. So that great compliment, by the way. Lucky trade. That was really nice. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. So anyway, if you think order flow is boring, you might as well just close up shop because you're not going to do well over the long run. All right. So now, like I said, this short is. I'm gonna put my stop below. I'm gonna put my entry. I'm gonna bite the bullet and go 20 points because I don't feel like watching this thing bounce off here. So I'm just going to put it at 640 versus I'm costing, you can do whatever you want. The actual entry price is supposed to be 662 quarter. I just know, I don't know anything because anything can happen, like I said, but there's a very high probability this thing does that or it does it 25 times. So if it can get through that volume event, kind of like we saw, remember we talked about earlier with ES, it was giving you information. If it was able to, remember I trailed my stop to above this zone, and what did I say? I said, now if this is able to push an ATR outside of here and push through this zone, that's telling me something. That's where I stopped out, and what did it tell you? Another 10 plus points above, right? So that was giving you information just by seeing how it reacted to the zone. So now fast forward to this, I'm forcing this to get through this volume event for me to enter this trade. So I will put that in right now. But the problem here is I can't risk as much because I'm adding another 20 points to the trade. I'm just going to eyeball this. I mean, if I was entering at 62.75, I could put on 18. I'm risking another 20 points. So I probably could I'll put on like 10. That's not, very scientific, but I don't have time to go and figure out what it is. So I'm going to go 10. And I'm going to go short at 40. It's a long ways away, but it's just, I'm willing to sacrifice the extra 20 points because I think if this does fail, I think it's going to get smushed back down to the downside, right? So now on the flip side, though, just see we got new lugs in here. There you go. Here's your new lugs. That makes it feel a little better. I can still take my ESI trade, but I can't take a slug trade. On the flip side now, as long as this doesn't get to the invalidation price, or it's the validation price for a short or invalidation price for this long setup, I can still go long off this setup. That's in your spreadsheet. So as long as it doesn't get to 66 quarter, actually I think it already got there. Let's see. No, did not get there. So potentially I can still take a long off of this setup. Now I don't have to worry about going long into the lugs. So if this were to do, let's see if there's any liquidity up here. Not really. There's just this one band here, and I wouldn't go long. I wouldn't take a lit trade into that because the risk reward is not worth it. But say this holds, this doesn't get to my invalidation price, gets back above here, I could take a potential barf trade to the long side. Right? Other than that, I just wait. My order's working to go short. If this zone holds, once again, I'm going short. But I can tell you, if this can get pushed through this zone, watch out. It's unfortunate because I want these markets to go to zero, but I will trade bigger to the long side. All right, other than that, there was a bunch of stuff in natural gas I didn't even get over here. Let's see if the drawing tool worked. I'm sure it did. Look at that. Look how beautiful that thing is. I literally, I'm going to kiss this guy if I ever meet him. And I'm a heterosexual, and I'm still going to kiss him because this is just like a godsend for me and for anybody else using this. It'll be available. Go to my website, put in you want an update when this is available, and this tool will be available to the public once we iron out the bugs and stuff like that. All right, so nothing right here is just sitting in this zone. We're getting close to the time too. Then the next guy comes on. So if you got questions, guys, now's the time to ask them. If you can fit it in between Mr. Caffeinated, Captain Caffeinated. That's your new name, Captain Caffeinated. Let's see here. Actually, there's a couple. I gotta try to weed them out, filter them out between Captain Caffeinated. Stephanie, you want to learn? Yes, want to learn your setups to reinforce my other methods. Go to the course. If you guys are part of my trade room, you get a discount of the course. So if you're interested in watching this, I do this every day when I'm doing on the Bookmap webinars. So you guys, a lot of you guys, not a lot, but I get always emails. Hey, can I get a trial to your room? This is a trial to my room, guys. This is it. Because if you come in my room, then you get access to everything: the spreadsheet, the zones, it's like it's too much of a headache for me. And you're getting a trial to my room right now. This is what my room, exactly what my room's like, right? I'm a little more basic in these, but this is my room. So here's your trial. But if you're part of my room, then you get discounts to my trading course. So join the room, send me an email. I want your course. I'll send you a coupon code and give you, depending on your subscription price, All right, so quickly, go over this every time. This is my main site. You can see the discounts here depending on which one you get. Go to Scott's Live Trade Room. That's how you join. If you join for the monthly, you get 10% off my courses in mentoring. If you get quarterlies, 15, yearlies, 25% off of any course in here. Right? And I have changed, so this is my original course. I knocked down the price in half. If you want the original one, it's still a good course, but the new one's way more involved. This one's like almost 5 hours. This one was like 2.5, right? I don't show zone drawing or anything, but it goes over the 5 basic setups. We've since added a setup, so on and so forth, but this is the new course. All right. What else? Please show us limit order. I don't know what that means. Only the big. Please be more specific. I don't know what that means. Robert knows. Do you use absorption at a large liquidity levels for reversals while looking at Bookmap in confluence with your strategy? I don't have the absorption indicator set up. It's just too much of my chart. I see enough with the sweeps. But yeah, you can use absorption. I mean, the liquidity is absorption. If it comes up here, someone's absorbing these orders, right? They're just sitting here waiting to be hit, and they're absorbing. But yeah, you can. It's just. I think it's redundant for what I'm looking at, right? Because the icebergs are absorption, liquidity is absorption. I can see sweeps. So yeah, but yeah, it's a great indicator. It's part of Global Plus as well. You guys want to get Global Plus? That's on my website too. Once again, I put in there everything on here, and you get discounts to Bookmap. Global Plus you got to get. That's the discount. You want Global Plus because it gives you the sweeps, the absorption. Here's Apex, trader funding. We didn't get into that, but that's it's all in this document, guys. Right? So here's the course. Here's the spreadsheet. If you want the spreadsheet, if you're not part of, if you come in my room, you get the spreadsheet. If not, you can get the subscription to it. Website, email, Twitter. Here's the trade room. Actually, I have this twice. Sorry, it shouldn't be in here. That's up here. And then here's your discounts. This is the same thing that's on my site. This is for Global Plus. This is the marketplace if you want to get the SI indicator, the MBO bundle, which you're going to want if you're going to follow what I'm doing, because that's the core of my trading. Apex Trader Funding, use this code for any sale they have. That'll give you, if they're an 80%, 90%, this code works for them all. Spot Gamma, Tick Strike, discount. There's no discount for Spot Gamma, but you can get the Hero. If you want to use the Hero, we haven't looked at that today. Actually, let's take a quick look at that. If you want to use the Hero, it's already a week free. You get an extra week if you use my code for that. Trader Sync, this is to document your trades, very, very important. And then Ludwig levels. I want to take a look at Hero here and see what it's looking like. Let's see, I keep forgetting what these are here. So I have next expiration. So this is 0 date to expiration. That's this one here. You can see it's starting to move lower. That's important. Hero it's important to watch it, especially when you get big moves, but some days it works, some days it doesn't, just like anything else in trading. But you want to pay attention to this thing, because if this thing's moving lower, they're basically it's bearish for the market, and this is just another like a confluence, another thing to base your thesis on, right? So I already know we're in an inflection zone, so this is for yes. So if we get, if I get a volume, but it's just poking its head above right now, but if I get a volume event here, and I'll take the Izzy short, and then I know the Hero is moving lower too. That's just another layer. Like I said, you can trade bigger, so on and so forth. So Hero that's important information. What else? That's about it for that. So I'm going to go short NASDAQ. We basically hit the entry price. I didn't do it into this zone. I put mine 20 points lower. That was my personal decision. If you want to go short right here and you love the short, go for it. Sanjay, I'm from India. Please suggest some platform for trading in CME, NYMEX, and COMEX. Platform what? You mean for charting? Well, Bookmap's your platform, but if you want like the charting, like the basic charting, like this Thinkorswim, I don't think you can get this in other countries for some reason. And I'm getting off of this anyway here shortly. Ninja Trader, Trading View, I know a lot of people use. I don't use that, but I'm switching to Ninja Trader here soon. Do you look at fundamentals, supply demand of commodities? I think the order flow are fundamentals, but if you're talking about open interest and stuff like that, I do not. I don't think it's a bad thing. Definitely, I've never seen huge edge in it as for day trading, but yeah, absolutely. Anything that involves volume, absolutely. You definitely want to be paying attention to. Please show us the passive order signal. What does that mean? The passive order signal. Passive orders are orders in the order book. These are passive orders, right? They're just waiting to be filled. Aggressive orders are market orders. That's what you're seeing on the chart in the bubbles. The bubbles are aggressive orders. People hitting bids, taking offers, right? Passive orders are the orders sitting in the order book, aka liquidity. And when it's really dark, it's just showing there's more relative to the rest. It's very important information as well. All right, so let's start to hit these FANG stocks a little bit too. So this could get interesting. Again, I will go short. I can't go long off the setup now anyway, so it's either I'm going short or I'm waiting for a new setup and I potentially will go long. But at minimum, if this gets below that zone, I decided not to enter right here. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna put on half the size right here. So I'll put on half, and then I'll get in half if it gets down to that 40 level. Just because I don't want to, it's 22 points. I don't have a full position on, but I want to. This is the official price I was supposed to be in, 62 quarters. So I'm in half. If it gets down below here through this last volume event, then I'm gonna put on the other half. Again, some of this is subjective. Most of it's black and white. Sometimes you got to make decisions, guys. And the more you understand this stuff, you'll make more informed decisions. All right, Captain Caffeine's still going crazy. So, all right, guys, it's you got your next guy from Bookmap coming up for the webinar, Tom B. So go watch him. But this is what I do every day. My trading room. Come in there. You get discounts to the course if you want to learn what I'm doing. Get the course. Goes over everything. Detail. It's been a long time. I spent a long time working on that thing, so it's finally ready. There'll be a new ATR reversion course coming out very, very soon, hopefully by this weekend, and then the trading strategies course, and then down the line, Market Pulse too. But you'll all get emails for that, and when this drawing tool is available, go to my website, put your name in for the email list, and then I will put a mass email out when that's ready as well. All right, have a great weekend, guys, and I will see you next Thursday.